And I'd like to welcome Micheline back up to the front of the room with Colleen Chambers-Iverson and Summer Gray.
So first, Colleen and you can say the handing out. Hand. Okay. Colleen Chambers-Iverson wrote a lovely and moving thesis called "Suppose I Tell You a Story" about Marilyn Monroe, the movie The Misfits, and two girls who are in real time, whose lives unfold as the film does. It is, in the words of second reader Vicki Nelson, quote, about icons of male and female and the fragile humans behind them. It's also about a girl who makes a story in her head because she feels less than human, doesn't feel like a girl. It is a book with so much to say, about popular culture, about self-loathing, about the female body, about the stories we tell ourselves, about loss and movies, and a family and a deceased father, and above all, about love. What stands out in the flow is the language of it. It is an impressionistic piece evoking the senses. Bravo, Colleen.
I just really want to say thank you to my teachers who are just like amazing, and my friends who are everything to me. Thanks.
Summer Graves, The Presence of Pasiphae's Daughter, is a complicated narrative, as much about reading and the life of the mind as it is about living, breathing, and moving physically in the world. It is a book which contends with being, and being alive in the imagination and the beauty of the word, and of many great books of literature that it is in conversation with, and the ongoing one of how art sustains us. It is a book that is both sui generis and indebted to tradition. It is a project that is compelling and unique and quietly urgent. Bravo, Summer.
I'm not going to read my 3-minute speech. I'm bleeping upset about that, Elena. Okay, I'll read half of it. This is okay, all right, I got permission. This is a passage from my process paper, my experience at Goddard. Meeting creative writers. Hearing your work, talking with, bonding with you is the pivotal epiphany I take away from Goddard, as transformative as writing my novel, that supports and grounds me in my life in the body of the work, physical and creative. The first day at a Goddard residency, I felt alien, disconnected, until I realized that I was not alone and never would be again. Out loud, I found myself blurting, "I'm a freak." Quickly looking up, I cringed at what I had just said, only to find, instead of awkward, quizzical stares, all around me, vigorous nodding and smiles that erupted into an energetic discussion on that strangeness shared, that disconnection for most people who do not have this urge to create, to plunge into whatever that mystery is in each of us. I could not help myself blurting that phrase again and again, until one writer put his hand on my shoulder and declared, "Summer, get over it. We're creative writers. We're all freaks." At the end of one master's class in experimental writers, I took a long walk with a poet and a short story writer who asked me questions about Virginia Woolf and her influence on my writing. As they each recalled their early memories of reading her work, listening as they talked back and forth on either side of me down the sidewalk, I began to realize how little I knew about Woolf, though I had read several biographies, her fiction, innumerable essays, yet I could hardly recall this or that fact. Here I was in the discussion I'd always longed to take part in, among literary comrades, to plunge in together and grapple with meaning and beauty. It was as if a gloriole of Woolf appeared around and between as they continued talking, and I nodded and let go and let go and let go. That part of Woolf, that part that is mine, between her and me, exists because, helplessly, I do not, cannot accumulate, do not have the ambition to know Woolf, but to feel, to sense, touch, divine, intuit this and that, with an uncertain hold. In that moment, I knew that if I strived for that knowing, to participate, to own the facts of Woolf, her life, her writing, then I would not have that other part, that tentative communication, which is what Woolf saw one day out the back of Monk's house, a vision that her pen was in search of, this or that, a feeling she described as a fish swimming over the fields of grass bent by the wind, waves of grass, and that fish swimming, Woolf's pen following. As the two writers and I walked back together, I let go of that ambition, that should. The wind passes through the grasses and my pen, rifling the blank book paper, and Woolf, the fish, and I swim. Thank you, Micheline. Where are you, Micheline? Oh, thank you, and thank you, Juliana, and thank you, Victoria, and thank you, Elena, and all the writers here. And my pen is just going to follow you and this experience all my days.
Next, I'd like to welcome Ryan Boudinot to introduce Paul Porter and Chelsea Werner-Jansky.
Superstitious guitarists have been known to leave their guitars in studios where great albums have been recorded so that they can soak up the ambiance. A Paul Porter story is like such a guitar, a Fender Telecaster perhaps, an instrument that resonates with lived experience, capable of more than its fair share of raunch. Whether chronicling the troubles of gigging musicians or a motorcycle racer who's veered dangerously off course, these works are soulful, funny, and touched with melancholy. His thesis, An Impossible Way of Life, collects these tales and is a fine accomplishment. Congratulations, Paul.
Let's see. This is a far cry from walking in here to do the G1 semester, I'll tell you that. I went back to school as an adult, back to college, and I'd done like 3-4 years before I got here. And I came in for the first semester and I thought, you know what, I'm just not going to do this. I've had enough. I've been beat up enough. And the school I went to, Evergreen State College, I had 2 professors there. One of them, Bill Ransom, the Northwest poet, was very much into Goddard, and he'd been encouraging me about my writing. he said, you need to do this. And I said, really? Because everything else in the last couple of years you told me I need to do a herd. And so this looks like more herd. But, you know, I don't know. I guess, you know, the years of playing music and whatnot, I just got used to a herd. That's not a whine, that's just a, you know, quirky, funny thing. And I did it. Standing here today, I'll tell you, for those of you who are starting out, I got, in my last semester here, I got 2 stories published. And it was a thrill, a big thrill. Because when I started out, for me, I intended to get published, and I wanted to be published, and I want to make money as a writer. I want to make money so I can do it and not do other stuff. And I got over the this thing has to be perfect before I send it out thing, because it was pretty near perfect after Amy beat it up and Nikki beat it up and Rogelio said it sucks, but improved it. And then Ryan and Victoria put like blood patches on me and said it still sucks, we'll go back and fix it. And during the last semester there with Victoria and Ryan, I submitted one to Pitkin, which is in there. And I wasn't even going to submit it, except for Ryan said he liked this one paragraph I wrote. And you can see how easily I'm flattered. And I thought, well, this ain't great. My brilliant one is over here, but, you know, he's published and he's the instructor, so I did it. And Pitkin took it. And then Paul, and thank you, Paul, for all the emails that he forwards from editors. And for current students, my advice is to take that serious. And it's a tool here at the school, and use it. So what I did is I took one from Connotation Press. The editor, Robert Young, said in the email that he would look at anything that a Goddard student sent, and it wouldn't go through the submission policy, it would go straight to his desk. So I love that, you know, being a Leo and having a big ego. I thought I'm going right to the editor desk. So, and I picked one that I thought, well, I'm on a roll here. What's not ready in my mind is going good. So I sent it, and it was one Amy helped me with in the first semester, something called Hollywood, and he published it on Connotation Press. So I want to thank all the instructors and Paul and Goddard. Thanks a lot, guys.